Yeah, just a quick review of the Copper Fit Unisex compression gloves. So these gloves provide compression, which helps things like hand arthritis. So a lot of people are using these for hand arthritis. And if you have hand arthritis, these are going to work two main ways to help you with your arthritic symptoms in your hand. Number one, like I said, they provide compression. What compression does is it gets rid of the swelling if you have any in your hand. So you decrease that swelling, you're going to be able to move your fingers a lot better, you're going to have better motion, and the pain's going to be a lot better. So that's the first way that these would work for hand arthritis. The other thing is they provide warmth, and we all know that heat helps arthritic conditions, or if you have like a painful hand, you put heat on it, always gets things loosened up, you're moving better, circulation's better. So those are the two main ways they work if you have hand arthritis. A few points about these particular gloves. They are hand wash only, which you need to know that because if you have hand arthritis and you have a painful hand to move your fingers and stuff, last thing you want to do is spend a lot of time, washing, these gloves in the sink. It might be hard for you if you have really bad symptoms. So just keep that in mind because there are other gloves made that are machine washable. So just something to look for. They do have an open finger design, which is great because let's say you can't like sew or knit or, even work your phone very well because your fingers hurt. Well, you can put these on, get some pain relief, and then you can do those kind of activities. And they do also come with a silicone grip, which I really like because if you have a painful hand or like hand arthritis, a lot of times you have a weak grip. And so, you can't hold on to things as hard as you should. And so if you have more friction in your palm of your hand, you don't have to apply as much grip to hold things and keep everything firmly in place. So, this kind of silicone grip makes it a lot easier to hold on to things. You don't have to use your hand as much as far as like force and everything and gripping. So less grip and less force usually means less symptoms. So permanent, temporary relief, how do these things work? Well, if you put them on, they're going to basically work while they're on. There might be some carryover after about maybe 30, 60 minutes because your hand's still warm. You got that swelling out of there, but it'll kind of eventually come back. So basically these are going to work while you have them on, but I think there is a way to get more permanent relief using these gloves. It's going to take a couple treatments. So what you're going to do is the gloves are one kind of treatment. So what else helps hand pain, hand arthritis? Exercise. We all know that if you have hand arthritis, doing hand exercise, getting your hand stronger, getting it more flexible, even if you have other hand conditions, you're going to be, if you can get it stronger, more flexible, you're going to be feeling better. Your hand's going to be working better. The more you use it, there's less stiffness and you're stronger, less pain. But you can't do that right now. So what you do is you put the gloves on. After about 30, 60 minutes, your hand heats up, gets some of that swelling out. Now you're able to do some exercises that if you do them week by week, they're going to make your hand stronger, more flexible, and then you're not going to need the gloves all the time, or you may not need them at all. Good way to manage your symptoms. So let's say this book here, Treat Your Own Hand and Thumb Osteoarthritis, I'll use as an example. You start out with something like range of motion exercises. So if you go for like hand therapy or occupational therapy, they're always going to have you do range of motion exercises. So why is that? Well, the big reason is the joints in your fingers are synovial joints, and synovial joints have synovial fluid. Synovial fluid carries nutrition to the joint and to the articular cartilage, but that synovial fluid gets spread around by motion. So if you have a painful hand, painful fingers, you're not moving them through the full range of motion. You're not getting that synovial fluid spread around like it should, and so your articular cartilage suffers. So that's why you always do your range of motion exercise. Get that stuff spread around, helps bring more nutrition to the joint. Everything works a lot better. The other thing you want to do is make your hands stronger. Doesn't really take much. This book advocates using like a small dumbbell. So if you do the exercise with like a 2-pound dumbbell, you want to get stronger, then you buy a 3-pound dumbbell and so on. Just a few exercises you do. In strengthening exercises, you can only do you do a couple times a week, your hands will still get a lot stronger. So there are a lot of things you can do. Let's say you have trouble with the base of your thumb, because a lot of people have base of the thumb arthritis or carpal metacarpal joint arthritis. It's even an exercise you can do to help with that pain. There's a muscle called your abductor pollicis longus. You can see how that sucker inserts right at the base of the thumb where you're having all that pain at. If you do have this problem, you strengthen that muscle, and we're talking about doing this exercise with a rubber band like a couple times a week. Week by week, you're going to strengthen your abductor pollicis longus. You're going to get more joint stability, and the more control over you have of that joint, the less excessive motion you have in the joint, which comes along with arthritis, the less pain you're going to have. So there are things you can do about that. But hey, you can't do them now because your hands hurt. Get the gloves, put the gloves on, start some exercises week by week. You improve the function of your hand, it gets stronger, more flexible. Then you're going to get you where you want to be. So, yeah, good pair of gloves. Check them out.